How can you save hours and tens of hours and maybe potentially hundreds of hours a week by eradicating repetitive customer support emails? Let me show you. As you've seen right now on my screen, I've received a new customer support email. What do I do as a digital pulse marketing agency business owner? I probably go to my customer support rep and ask him to write a response, right? Wrong. Let's just wait for a minute. Oh, we didn't even need to wait for a minute. It happened in literally less than 10 seconds. And as you can see, somebody responded on my behalf. Who is that? Okay, I'm not teasing you. You probably guessed it. It's AI working on my behalf and basically letting me to leverage some opportunities. So as you've seen, it has responded to this email and basically it has given a response based on my company's descriptions and SOPs. So before we dive in, let me give you a brief overview of how does this work. So this whole automation is built on a platform called N8N, and the way it works, it basically gets a new email, it edits it, it gives it to the AI agent. Agent uses the OpenAI chat model, which uses the knowledge base, then it writes an email and marks it as read. But let me showcase you how you can build up this AI agent so it actually fits your business needs and you don't need to deal with quite a few problems which comes from such simple automations. So first things first, let me show you how this works from a backend perspective even more. So we have a Google Drive folder which has two free files in it, and basically those files have descriptions of procedures. So in this particular case, it tells how to use the platform. Don't worry, this is a totally fake company. I hope. I didn't check it actually, but I basically asked ChatGPT to create it, and it created some SOPs, and basically those SOPs have been added with this workflow to the knowledge base. So it basically watches for file created or file updated, then it sets a file ID, does all these operations, switches based on the text file type, and inserts into the database. And on the backend perspective, it looks like this. So database has metadata with free files. So each file name is correspondent to the Google Drive file name. So this name is correspondent to this, and it has all the data inside those files. So as you can see, it has split it in such chunks in which AI can easily access and read this data. The important part about this is that AI doesn't come up with data on its own. It doesn't create some random stuff. It just uses what it has. And this is the preciousness of it, because by having all your automations and everything written down online, you can have your AI agent working for you and on behalf of a part of your team. First problem, which naturally arises for most business owners, is data security. Most businesses deal with sensitive data. Customer can write his banking details, can write his personal code, maybe his address, his phone number, and we want to keep all of it inside of our business, not give it to the AI, because this way it just goes straight into the AI. So let's fix this problem. We can do that by creating an AI agent which will sort it on our behalf. So this is a prompt for sanitizing emails, and basically the main idea is that we sanitize our email so it replaces all the sensitive data. So let me showcase you what I mean. First of all, we give it the original email like this by dragging and dropping it in the N8N platform. And basically the system prompt is the following. It asks it to sanitize the email content. It tells it output only the sanitized content and nothing else. So there's no additional sentences because models like to go above and beyond their responses usually. It gives it some rules of what to do. So for example, if it's an ID reference number, it replaces it with such brackets ID, email, if it's email, if it's phone number, address, financial info, financial, URLs. So basically AI model doesn't get any sensitive customer data email. So basically the AI model doesn't receive any sensitive data. It also gives it some rules. So it basically tells it not to include phrases, additional phrasing, additional explanations, additional text, nothing additional, just basically the sanitized content. So let's give it a go. Let's test this step, and basically we got an error. Let's fix it. So it doesn't have the AI model behind it, and that's my bad. That's what happens when you record lively and build lively. So we can do the local AI model because that's the whole idea. We want the local model to depict this data. So actually everything happens locally and none of the data leaves our computer or our server. So we can use the Llama chat model for that. For this purpose, I will use this model. So you can download locally and run locally on your PC. And let's run it. So it will it might take quite some time depending on your computer characteristics. My computer is not very powerful, so it may take longer than usual. So as this agent is running, let me tell you something important. If you want to build out a custom automation for your business, or maybe for some other solution, not precisely customer support, I can help you with that. You can schedule a free call in which we will discuss of how I can help you, and you can do that by clicking a link in the description and scheduling the call itself. So enough of self-promotion, let's go back to a workflow. So as you can see, it's given us a sanitized email. It's basically the same email, but it just masks the ID. And maybe in this particular case, it's not so sensitive, but in the future, when a lot of customers are inquiring about a lot of things, a lot of data gets added and it all can go very wrong very fast. So after this, we give it to our customer support agent, but we need to change the input so it doesn't have the original message but the sanitized one. We can do it by dragging and dropping like this. Let's test the step. It will be much faster because it's just an API and not a local running machine. And basically it created an email of what to do and how to respond to this email, and after that it will reply to a message and mark it as read. But what for agent to do if it doesn't know the answer? So it just sends some rubbish answer? No, that's not the case. You can basically sort this out inside of your agent. So I've written this prompt. Okay, I didn't, Claude did, but for purposes of this video, let's suppose I did. So basically this prompt tells it that it's a Digital Pulse fake marketing agency support agent. It tells it that its role and etc. etc. It tells it to use the knowledge-based content retrieved from Supabase via this workflow, and it also tells it the response format. So it's always the same. It greets the user, it says thank you for your email, gives the knowledge-based response, and gives standard question, let us know if you have any further questions. You can customize this as like how you like, and the solution can be completely custom. It's just the structure I like. Also, it gives it some formatting rules. So overall structural, it tells it to follow the exact response format, not to deviate from it. It tells it to greet the user. It tells it to give blanks. So it's not just one, concise sentence, but it's split. It also tells it to use knowledge-based response. It tells it to use data retrieved from Supabase, so basically the database I've shown you before. It tells it not to include any article titles, and it's basically just basic rules of response. So it doesn't feel like an AI response, but as if a human was responding to you. And it's a lot of rules in that, and basically it tells it to do all of these things, so it formats nicely and outputs nicely. And as you can see, it's text \n is basically means a new line in text, so it outputted correctly. And after that, we just needed to sort this out. So also the thing this agent has is, I completely forgot to tell you about it. So yeah, there's also very important rule for this. So matching or no matching. So basically if an agent matches a question to a knowledge base and finds a response to it, it writes a response and it's okay. But what if it doesn't match the response? Then it doesn't respond because it will be just responding rubbish. So it just marks it as K. So this is what I like to do, because then the person who is sitting behind the screen and just checking the mailbox can view new drafts, and basically we are all with K, or you can call it draft for human review, whatever you like. I just like to keep it simple, so that's why I called it like this. And for this, naturally we need to add some logic. So let's add a switch node. So basically a node which would help you sort this out. So we tell it too that if this output of this agent is equal to K, which is not in this case, but if it would have been, it goes one way, and if it's equal to anything else, it goes the creating of draft way. So we just drag it like this, and basically the logic is simple. If the agent has the answer, it sends an email. If it doesn't, it creates a Gmail, and then we go to create a draft. So we set this up a bit later. Let me showcase this by example. So it has received an email. Obviously, I'm a automations guy, so I'm chatting with myself all the time. But yeah, this is the fun part. So it asks about the color of the sky and what is your name. So AI model doesn't have the color of the sky in its knowledge base, and obviously it doesn't have a name, but we can give it one later. But basically, for the sake of this example, it has received 2 questions to which it doesn't know answers to. So let's give it a test. We press test workflow. We fetch a test event. Okay, we have a problem because I read this email, and basically this Gmail node has two labels, so it takes emails from inbox and which are unread. I've constructed it this way so it doesn't take drafts or something else. So basically, if you read the email faster than AI, it will not be responded to, and it's really efficient in some of the cases. So let's fetch the testament. We received an email. Hello, what is the color of the sky? And what is your name? So basically the same email. Let's run it through till the switch node. So again, this will be quite slow, but it will basically sanitize the email. In this particular case, it doesn't have anything to sanitize, but it still needs to boot up in order to understand that. So let's give it a second. And as this is running, I will give you another call to action. If you like this type of content, subscribe. I will be giving you more automations in the future and basically more tips and tricks of what worked for me and my clients in the past. So yeah, it has given an output. It's the same because there's nothing to sanitize. There wasn't any sensitive data. Then it gives a switch and it correctly determined. So basically the AI agent correctly determined that output is K. So, it can be anything, but basically it didn't know answer to these questions, and switch node gave it a route of creating a draft so human can review it. Let's set up this draft node. So first of all, let's drag the message. So the message is this, and subject is the same as the person has written to us. So in this case, me from my second account. And we give it a thread ID. So it responds to the same email it has got before, and not just creates a random draft. So, a human can review this and understand what's going on. So let's test this step. As you can see, it has created a draft, but email is still in red. That's why we add this final node of mark as read. So read. Mark message is read. Yeah, I'm slow. Message ID. We just basically give it the same this ID from message, and let's test this step. And you can see now is message is read. So the way it works is for emails, it knows, it responds, and your team doesn't need to do anything. And for emails it doesn't know, it saves them to draft, and you basically receive, and a person can take care of it. So it didn't respond anything, and ideally a live person who is responsible for responses responds only to these 10 to 20% of custom emails to which you don't have standard procedures. So we can take a deeper look into what's going on and give a proper response to the customer, especially if it's something related to something more important than just general questions. Okay, what is another step we can do? What if the agent receives a spam email of something promotional? What it should do then? Answer is simple. We give it another filter and we don't waste our resources on that. So let me press this button so it cleans it all up. So we do this after the sanitized AI agent because, as you remember, we don't want to leak any of the data. So we just, give it the prompt which was sanitized. Let's create another AI agent. So AI agent and define below. And we also make it as ChatGPT because it's best for such use cases. We can use O4 mini. It doesn't matter in this case because the task is not too hard. And we give it a prompt. The way we give prompts is the simplest way to do this is to just go to Claude and tell it what to do. So I've written this prompt. So basically I asked it to write a prompt for an AI agent classifying emails. I know it's a mistake here. If the email is spam, then it should output 0. If the email is not spam or promotional email, it should output 1. And basically I was testing it out, and it gave me the output of like this. So it wasn't a number, it was just JSON. And I asked it to characterize it in a way that it responds only with number. So we have gotten this prompt. I didn't test it so far, so let's check it out. So I've asked it to also give examples. It's really important in prompting, so always give examples to your AI agent so it knows what to do. And it's basically just given some general spam emails examples and also indicators of spam, classification guidelines, and it's a really nice prompt, so I don't see what can we add to it. And yeah, we've given it this email. So yeah, it didn't give it the actual JSON with the email, so it cannot assess it. So let's take this JSON, so the output. and ask Claude, add to this prompt to take original email contents to review from this JSON, and we give it the output, and it should enhance our prompt. And also is making a mistake, so original email is not in JSON output, it is just text, but it should retrieve that email from here. Let's wait. So if you know what you're doing, you can save quite a bit of time by utilizing these large language models, and Claude is generally more accurate in terms of writing prompts and stuff like that than ChatGPT. That's why I'm using and paying for it. So yeah, okay, so it's given the automation. Let's give it a go. So let's test this step. So it has correctly identified that the color of the sky email is not spam. So after this, we add another switch node. So basically, the way we do that is press here, add switch node. And if the value of this output is equal to 0, we go one route. And if value of this output, as in this case is 1, is equal to 1, we go another route. So now it's 1. And basically, if this is not spam, we give it you know, a command to go through the whole workflow. So go to the customer support agent and draft an email response, and you know, after that decide if it's if it knows the answer, if it doesn't. And if it doesn't, the way we can do this is also quite simple. So what I like to do in this case, you can delete an email, but I don't like usually doing this, because if AI accidentally makes a mistake, you can still retrieve the email. So it just marks as read. And right now we cannot connect this. So let's write another email which will be really spammy, and let's check it out. So this is another email, and this is actually exclusive offer. So it obviously is spam, but let's see if it's that obvious to our AI agent. So right now workflow is not toggled as active. That's why it doesn't work automatically, because I want to showcase it to you. So we need to do everything manually. So let's trigger it up to this node. Wait, let's fetch a new test event. So yeah, dear valid customer, blah, blah, blah. And you could think that you could make this process a bit simpler by creating a, you know, spam classifying agent before the AI agent node. But in this case, all of your emails would go through there. And, you know, if there's sensitive data, it will get leaked. So that's why you always need to run for your local agent if the sensitive data is important to you. If it's not important to you, you can just, you know, cut this part out and use all of this. So let's wait for it to run. Also, if you watched this far into the video and you want to obtain this exact workflow, which we have built out through the course of this video, you can DM me on Instagram, link is in the description, DM me workflow, and I will send this workflow to you. Okay, so it has completed, and the routing agent has successfully determined that output is 0. So as you remember, 0 means spam. Switch node gave it a 0, and right now it failed because it doesn't have anything connected to it. So let's give it a message ID. And let's just mark it as read. Let's check this out. Oh, this is quite nice. So right now our agent responds on our behalf. If it doesn't know the answer, it leaves it as a draft for a human. And if it marks this, you know, this email as spam, it just reads it. So yeah, I think this is it for the AI automation. You can comment in the comments of how you would enhance it, and if you know, I find it interesting, I might even record a video about enhancements in the future. One particular use case which I have used for one of my clients was that the AI agent could also extract the email. So for example, if you know, a person submitted a form via email and it had, you know, email not in the subject, not in the recipient, but like in respond to double dot in the email, the custom local AI agent could extract that email, and basically you know, when creating an email, it would also parse the email to the response immediately. But in this case, we don't have such a complex solution. So I think it's really custom from platform and from client to client. But if you are in need of such a solution, you can book a free audit call built in the link with a link in the description. Thank you for watching this video, and as in a long time, see you on the mountaintop. Bye.